Night over northern Germany. High above the dark landscape, the bomber stream moves steadily toward its target. Hundreds of aircraft cross the border in long, organized lines. Engines drone through the cold air as the formation pushes deeper into German airspace. Below them, the defensive network begins to react. Along the North Sea coast, radar stations detect the incoming formation. Operators lean over glowing screens as signals begin to appear. Phones start ringing across the German Air Defense Command. Coordinates are reported. Bearings are calculated. Messages move quickly through the network, protecting the industrial cities of northern Germany. The warning spreads inland. Hamburg prepares. Across the outskirts of the city, searchlight batteries power on. Massive reflectors begin sweeping the sky, their beams cutting slowly through the darkness. One beam scans the clouds, another follows. Soon dozens of searchlights comb the night above the city. For several seconds, they find nothing. Then a shape appears. One beam locks onto a bomber high above the city. Another searchlight joins it. Within moments, several lights converge, forming bright columns that trap the aircraft in white illumination. The formation has been found. Around Hamburg, anti-aircraft batteries begin firing. Heavy flak guns positioned around the city send shells climbing into the night sky. Seconds later, explosions burst across the altitude of the bomber stream. Black clouds of shrapnel spread among the aircraft. The sky fills with flashes. Flak bursts surround the formation. Shock waves ripple through the air. Fragments tear through the darkness, striking metal fuselages and wings. Some aircraft shift position to maintain spacing. Others fly directly through the explosion. The bomber stream continues forward. Searchlights attempt to follow the aircraft as they cross above the defensive ring. Beams sweep back and forth across the sky, sometimes locking onto bombers, sometimes losing them again in the darkness. Inside German radar control rooms, operators watch their screens as the number of signals begins to grow. Then the picture changes. Signals multiply. The screens begin filling with echoes. Dozens of returns appear where only a few aircraft should exist. Operators attempt to track individual formations, but the signals overlap and spread across the display. Too many targets. High above them, bomber crews have begun releasing thousands of thin aluminum strips into the air. The material drifts slowly downward behind the formation. Each strip reflects radar waves. On the radar screens below, the reflections create hundreds of false echoes. The defensive network struggles to distinguish real aircraft from interference. Radar tracking becomes uncertain. Guidance begins to break down. Searchlights continue sweeping the sky, trying to locate the aircraft visually. Flak batteries keep firing into the darkness, but the bomber stream keeps moving. Through beams of light and bursts of flak, the formation advances deeper toward the city. Below them, Hamburg remains under blackout. Streets lie in darkness. The harbor is silent. Buildings stand in shadow along the river and the industrial districts. Above the city, the defensive fire continues. Searchlights reach upward. Flak bursts spread across the sky, and the bombers continue forward. Hamburg now lies directly ahead. Above Hamburg, the bomber formation begins the final approach. Aircraft hold a steady course across the city. Navigation lights remain dark. Each bomber maintains its position in the stream as the formation aligns over the target area. Below them, Hamburg remains under blackout. Streets are dark. Industrial districts along the harbor and the river lie in shadow. On the ground, air defense units continue scanning the sky, while civilians move toward shelters as the sound of engines grows louder overhead. Inside the bombers, crews prepare for the release. Bomb bay doors begin to open beneath the aircraft. Bomb racks shift into position. Navigators confirm the bombing line, while pilots keep the aircraft level over the city. The aircraft holds steady over the target. Moments later, the bombs begin to fall. Rows of explosives drop from the formation and descend toward the industrial districts below. The aircraft continue forward while the bombs separate and spread as they fall through the night air. Seconds later, the first impacts reach the ground. Explosions strike factories, warehouses, and rail yards across the city. Shock waves spread through nearby streets as fires begin appearing in multiple locations. Smoke rises above the industrial areas of Hamburg. From above, the bomber crews can see scattered fires beginning to spread across the city. The formation continues forward. Behind them, fires begin appearing across Hamburg. Fires begin to spread across the city. Individual strikes have ignited buildings throughout Hamburg. Warehouses burn. Residential blocks catch fire. Industrial districts begin to glow under expanding flames. At first, the fires remain separate, Smoke rises in isolated columns. Streets remain visible between them. Movement is still possible. Then the pattern begins to change. Flames spread beyond single structures. Entire streets begin to ignite. Heat builds across blocks, not buildings. The separation between fires starts to disappear. The air begins to move. Hot air rises rapidly above the burning districts. Cooler air is pulled inward from surrounding streets. Wind begins to form. At ground level, debris starts to shift. Paper lifts from the pavement. Ash moves through the streets. Loose objects begin sliding toward the fire. The fire starts pulling the city into itself. Flames bend in the direction of the airflow. Smoke no longer rises straight upward. It is dragged sideways, feeding the center of the burning zone. Streets become channels, directing the wind deeper into the fire. The system is forming. Multiple fires are no longer acting independently. Entire blocks burn at once. The boundary between individual fires disappears. Movement becomes unstable. People attempt to move through the streets, but the wind pushes against them. Direction becomes unclear. Visibility drops as smoke thickens across entire districts. Then, control is lost. Buildings ignite completely. Fire moves from structure to structure without interruption. Roofs collapse. Interiors burn simultaneously. The fire sustains itself. Air is pulled inward continuously. The inflow strengthens. The heat intensifies. The cycle continues. Above the city, the glow expands. The sky reflects the scale of the fire below. Smoke rises in massive columns, merging into a single layer over Hamburg. This is no longer a series of fires. It is a firestorm. The system feeds itself. Heat generates wind. Wind feeds the fire. The fire increases the heat. The cycle does not stop. Hamburg is no longer burning in parts. It is burning as one. And within it, movement, control, and containment are no longer possible.